Congrats on having a nice home game for you. I know you have to travel a lot of time for these things, but maybe talk about your excitement level and how good it feels to be here at home getting a fight.
I'm always pushing to get these fights right here in Las Vegas. This is where I reside now, and you guys all know this is the closest that we can get to UFC Hawaii. People call it the ninth island because there's so much local people here, local influence. So it's huge for me to be able to fight in Vegas, but to get to headline a card, in one of the biggest weeks in our sport, International Fight Week, and it's pretty cool. It's like it comes back to I'm getting to headline on a card, a tough finale. That's kind of how I made my start here in the UFC. So that's pretty cool.
How was this injury, man? There was I guess Dana said a few weeks ago that Brad Tavares is out of the fight, but you're sitting here, so obviously you're still in the fight. What's going on?
Yeah, it was just a lot of miscommunication and misinformation between the UFC's medical staff and then what they communicated to Dana. And Dana probably just being, I don't know, under the stress of potentially losing his main event for another card, kind of just jumped the gun a little bit. But it was actually an old existing injury that I had prior, and they imaged it. I don't know if you guys are familiar. If you take a X-ray and you see a broken bone, it'll, no matter what, when you X-ray that again, it'll always come up. And these people, I don't even know what they're called, the technicians, the MRI technicians, they're just gonna write on a piece of paper what exactly they see. Okay, this is they're just basically writing a report. It's like if I told you, look in this box and just tell me all the contents. You're just gonna write, oh, this is what I see, this is what I see, this is what I see. Anyway, so that's what they did, put it on a piece of paper. That was sent over to the UFC medical staff. They took that, oh, it's fractured, broken, whatever, took it to Dana, and then they just jumped the gun on that without ever speaking to me personally, without ever speaking to the Performance Institute PT, Heather Linden, who I've been working with the whole time. But as far as it goes, I never once said I wasn't gonna fight. I never once said I wasn't able to fight. I never once said that I was even doubting being able to fight. In fact, I spoke to Mick Maynard that morning before all of the craziness happened, when he first got the copy or the report, I guess. He reached out to me and was like, hey man, how you doing? How you feeling? And I was like, hey, don't worry about it. It's not, I'm not sure what exactly was said to you, but it's something that is, I'm 100% fighting unless, barring something from now to then happens. But anyway, it was a hectic day, I guess, at first. Everybody was hitting me up. A lot of support though, a lot of people, saying they're sorry and apologizing that, they felt bad that I was losing out on this opportunity, but so that's all behind me now, and I was just like, whatever, it is what it is, and July 6th, I'll be able to go out there and show that nothing is bothering me.
Do you feel like you're 100%, like you're good to go?
Yeah. So somebody had asked me, they're like, does any fighter ever feel? I feel 100% ready to go. But I don't think any fighter goes into any fight without any type of hiccup in camp. In every camp, when I start the camp, I always expect to face some type of adversity as far as injuries, maybe sickness. I mean, this past camp, I even got a minor food poisoning. So I went through it. But at the end of the day, when I look back at it, camp is almost done here. And it was a great camp. I got a lot of good work in. I feel like I made a lot of improvements again in this camp. And I'll be able to go out there, on July 6th and show that.
A lot of people have raved about the PI and about Heather in particular. Do you think without this facility here and without her, maybe you would not be able to make the fight?
Nah, I would fight. I would make the fight. This being made, and we've had it for going on a year now, or actually, it's been a year now. It's been huge, it really feels like this is a step towards, they always talk about they want to get the UFC to the mainstream as far as being able to compete with NBA, NFL, the major sports. And this is definitely a step in that direction. They really take care of us here. we have strength and conditioning, we have physical therapy, we have all this recovery stuff that we can use. Not to mention they feed us, and the best part about it, it's all free. So gotta love that.
What did you think of the UFC putting Thiago Marreta as a standby in case you could not compete?
I don't have a problem with it. I look at it like this, this at the end of the day, this is a business, and again, if Dana would have spoken to me first, he would have been able to, know that, okay, he doesn't have to go that far. But even if he spoke to me, and just the fact that, maybe there is an injury, them finding a substitute or replacement, I understand it's business. If I do fall out, they have somebody right in there to jump in. I don't blame Dana. He took the advice of his medical, whoever it was that spoke to him, and that told him that I had this injury and wouldn't be able to fight. And, why would he question them? That's what he pays them for. So, it is what it is.
How do you see Israel as well? What do you think about this hype on him?
Exactly, it's just hype. I don't think that he's, regardless of what he says, I don't think he's fought. Well, I know he hasn't fought someone like me, and I know he thinks, or he says at least, that he thinks that his last guy was tougher than me. But he's delusional or crazy. I don't know.
What's in this really for you to gain? He seems to have everything to gain by getting a win of this. He's not ranked, you're the higher ranked guy. It seems to you that you have everything to lose in taking this fight.
When they first offered me the fight, it wasn't the fight that I really wanted. I really was eyeing that Bisping fight. And I thought that with where I was right now, with where Bisping was, I thought that, that I deserved that fight. And that's the fight I really wanted. And it's been a fight I wanted for years. But you know what? Bisping is retiring, and props to him. He's had a great career. I'm happy for the man. But after that, this was the fight that was being offered to me, and I don't think that Israel deserves to be, in the spot that he's in. But for me, I get to fight right here in Vegas. I get to fight in front of, like we said, the closest thing we have to UFC Hawaii. So this is like a UFC Hawaii, a bunch of other Hawaiians fighting this weekend. You got Rachel Ostovich, I believe she's on the same card, if not the next day, and Yancy Medeiros, Max Holloway, and then parlay that right into Dana White's Contender Series, a bunch of Hawaiians on that card. So big weekend for Hawaii, big weekend for the Hawaiians as far as the MMA goes.
I know he's pretty high in his skills, but when you have to break him down on paper, where do you see his dangers and things you have to kind of keep an eye out for?
Israel, yeah. So I definitely respect him, as a fighter. Every fighter, he wouldn't have made it here if he wasn't talented, Actually, CM Punk made it pretty far. But, no poke at him, but you guys know what I mean. But no, he had a very respectable kickboxing career. He did some things there, put together a good record, and he had some good fights. He's talented. That being said, I still think I come out the better fighter. I respect the man, but there's nothing that I fear there. There's nothing that, even upon taking the fight, that I was really worried about, In any fighter, regardless of where they are, if you're fighting them, it's a fight at the end of the day. Anything can happen. But when I look at him, I know that this is somebody that I can beat, that I will beat, and that I'm better than. So, we'll see. July 6th.
One last thing for me that you kind of made me think of, when you talked earlier about when you understand how the UFC possibly could have pulled in a replacement for you when you thought you were injured. Now we have the flip side of this thing happened with Paul Felder. He had his opponent, since there was an injury or pullout, his opponent taken away from him, and now he's lost without a fight. What are your thoughts on how that sort of last minute thing happens and fighters are losing their fights that they've been prepared for? What are your thoughts on that? Is there a way to deal with that sort of thing?
No, it's the fight game. It's I don't know what statistically it is or whatever, but if you spend time in an MMA gym with top level fighters and you see the work that goes in, well, I know for me and my team at least, we put in work. We're not going crazy. We're not trying to kill each other, but still, we're grown men grinding, you know, like we're fighting. And yeah, we might not be fighting each other every day, but we're going hard. So injuries are gonna happen. It's unfortunate, and it sucks. But hey, maybe in a perfect world, we could get through it injury free, and 100% of the fights that are scheduled make it. But you know, that's not realistic. I don't know what really can be done, because I would say every time that I've ever been injured, it's not something that it's not doing something that I shouldn't have been doing. You know, it's not like I'm out here like, oh, okay, like I don't know, I hurt myself doing some backflip I shouldn't be doing or something. You know, it's some freak accident that happens in training. You know, maybe this guy took me down and landed on me the wrong way, or maybe I shot in on somebody and hit an elbow, got a cut. You know, it's unpredictable, and it's never, as far as I go, it's never getting injured doing something that I shouldn't be doing or that I wouldn't normally do. It's just a freak accident, you know. So I don't know how that can really be prevented, and I think it makes a lot of sense to have like a backup guy. I remember a couple years back when they did that. It was like all heavyweights. I know it was like, I think maybe Kane fought Bigfoot, and JDS fought Mark Hunt, and I don't know if you guys remember that card. It was here. It was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Like almost all heavyweights, the main card anyway. I know that they paid a certain fighter to like go through camp just in case that one of those key matchups fell through or somebody got injured. He was gonna jump in there and fight. So I mean, that maybe that's the kind of stuff that they can do to help prevent losing big fights.
And I guess that was one of our points. Instead of breaking one fight that's already existing, I mean, that's got to be bad if you're a fighter and you're expecting to fight, and they pull your opponent away to fill another fight, and then you're left without a fight. So for you, you'd rather they just always dealt outside of the current fight, not break up fights to make a fight.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just what side of the coin you're on. So if you're that guy that's getting your opponent pulled and you don't have a fight, hell yeah, that sucks. I'll be pissed. That like leaves you without a fight. You know, you work this hard. I mean, at bare minimum, I hope you're at least getting compensated what you would have if you won the fight. You know, because nobody goes into a fight thinking I'm gonna lose, expecting to lose. Every fighter that I know goes in there knowing, you know, believing in themselves that they're gonna win, expecting to win. But then again, now if you're the other fighter that something happened and they're pulling a fight to make your fight happen, I'd be stoked. I'm like, yeah, I'm fighting. You know, I get to go out there and perform. Like, yeah, it sucks for the other guy, but the other guy's not me. So, I mean, it's just what side you land on.